Welcome everybody. Everybody that's in the building. Shaman T History. Watch your Philantes, watch your backside. This evening I have a very good guest that I'm appreciative and fortunate to have up here. And his brother's an OG, got a lot to say. He has his own channel, his platform, and it's on positive as positive vibes as we do around here. So I'm just get ready to him to approach the joint and we'll get it started. OG, all you have to do is press the link. You how's everybody doing? The volume right? Let me see here. Give me a second, y'all. Per usual. Give me a second. That's right. Okay, there you go.
Oh, we are in there. Let me put the glasses. Okay, here we go.
All right, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing excellent, man. Just been a busy day.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to give you the because I like to use this green screen, but I ain't never met the OG, so I gotta try to find a way to show the face. I've been trying to get everything. Oh man.
Right.
But you said you've been busy as per usual for you anyway, right?
Yeah, I just left the Gangster Chronicles. Then I was on with guy Seti Nash. So I just and then Heru out of Atlanta, and then the brother Abdul out of Fort Worth, Texas. So a lot of work.
Right.
Building
See,
the
this is
airplane
why I
while we
don't.
fly.
Yeah, the screen knows so well when I just use the camera. That's why I like to get the logo. But I have to let the man know he's talking to at least for a second.
Okay, good enough.
Because I know Kev, every time Kev, I go talk to Kev, he'll let me up. Kev be like, man, you got to show the face. You got to show the face. Oh, man. All right, so I'm ready. So first off, yes, you can let the people know whichever how the name that you want, and after that, the first question is gonna be where you originally from.
Okay, I'm Professor Melly Mill. For those who don't know me, I'm Professor Melly Mill, the Hoodpostman, and it's all about delivery.
All
It's
right,
all about the delivery,
wise man.
And I use the tagline, "You know the vibe," all the time. You know what I mean? That's one of my taglines. You know the vibe.
That's what's
So
up.
here we are, man. So let's get to it.
Right, and like I said, I appreciate this, man, because like I said, I'm a brother to look up to you. You know what I'm saying? See, I'm stumbling because I like
It's an
stuff
honor,
like this.
man. It is a
But
honor.
I would like to just let everybody know where you're originally from.
I am actually from Compton, California, born and raised from Compton in
Ooh,
California, the CPT. The
that's
hub,
what's
we
up.
call it the hub. It's called the hub.
Okay.
And the
So
reason why
could
it's
you?
called
Yeah, go ahead.
okay.
Yep, go ahead. Go ahead. You
The
good?
reason why it's called a hub because it sits in the center of everything, whether you're downtown LA, the beach, the airport, Disneyland. Compton is in the center of all that.
Okay. So far as like, can you? I mean, I don't want to do you like that, but do you want to describe like coming up back in your time? You know what I'm saying? And because what
Oh,
I want you to just give us that, that vivid visual of the '70s, the '80s, and stuff like that.
okay. Well,
Because
coming up in the 70s, first you got to understand, we got to take it all the way back. The reason why the Crips was even created. During the 50s, in the '60s, they had what was known as the Spook Hunters. The Spook Hunters was a European white boys coming into our communities, antagonizing us, attacking us. And what divided us was they actually were in Southgate, Downey, Huntington Park, and the only thing that divided us from them was the train tracks. So during this time, there was a lot of racism, biases going on, and the black people predominantly lived on the east side of Los Angeles, and white folks were in the other cities that I just named: Downey, Southgate, Huntington Park, Linwood. So what would happen often, they would come over the tracks and attack and antagonize black people. So during this time, the gladiators, the Slawsons, and the businessmen were formed. And then a little bit later, the avenues. So this is where you get your Craig Munsons and
Okay.
Kusami and Bird and all them guys during that era. Even Barry White was a businessman. But anyway, so Raymond was born 1953. Raymond Lee Washington is the original gangster, the original. There's nobody OG'er than Raymond Lee Washington.
Okay.
Raymond Lee Washington grew up seeing these guys fighting the spook hunters. So actually, when he came of age and he understood what was happening, naturally he wanted to be a part of it. So he tried to become an avenue, and he was rejected. He was rejected from the avenues. They was like, "Get out of here! You weren't part of it, brother." So Raymond decided to create his own set, and that became the Crips. So the Crips' original mission was to protect the communities. This was a lot of people that have misconstrued and also unaware of that information. So I'm giving it to you today from my mouth, the facts, the data, statistics, and the absolute truth. The truth is distinctive. Um, so from that point on, so the Crips were formulated. So the Crips, but by this time, the spook hunters had begun to dwindle. They was losing numbers, and the 65 Bill of Rights was signed into place, 64, 65. So black people was getting a little more, they gained this access of voting, beginning to move outside of the this predominantly black community. They was moving over into the white communities.
Right.
So the spook hunters began to move out, move away. So by the time Raymond came and formulated the Crips, the spook hunters are basically non-existent. So now you don't formulate this big old Crip gang. Now they don't have no opposition. So what happens when you do that, man? You begin to feed on yourself, right? This is what
Right.
animals do. When there's no prey or predator, they begin to feed them. So that's what happened. And in terms of it got convoluted. Raymond originally wanted to have one of the Crips sit on the city council, so we have a seat at the table, we have a say so within our community. Because when you got a say so at the community level, you begin to control the resources. You also get control of the who gets voted in, and also you got say so of the police department, police chiefs. So what happened as the crime began to rise and people begin to get sort of like unsettled in what the Crips was doing, they began to attack their own kind, which that was never really the tolerance. They up in the thing in the toolbox up up there. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Sorry about that. Somebody looking for my wife looking for tolerance. But anyway,
Yeah.
let me get back to my point. So, um, they created what was called a round table, right? And who started the round table? None other than Rosie Greer. Rosie Greer, along with Tom Bradley, they committed a round table. The round table consists of all the gang leaders, whether it was Stanley Tookie Williams, Raymond Lee Washington, to name a few, and also on the Piru side would be King Baba Louie, maybe Puddin' and Tam and some of those cats, just to name a few. So they began to dialogue with the two. So quickly, Raymond became public enemy number one in the police departments and their rhetoric, like we know with not social media, but what the media do with black people when they see strong black male figures. they begin to attack you, assassinate you, and mischaracterize you.
Right.
So that's what happened. So they mischaracterized the brother. Then the brother wound up going to prison in 1973. So all this started, the Crips started in 69. I forgot to give you that part. So by 73,
Right.
he was in prison. By him going to prison, now the message is really convoluted because now you got individuals trying to function and run something who really don't know what they're doing. So now the infighting and the power structure and all this stuff beginning to happen. And not that it fell apart at that moment, but it had some inside squabbles and everything. But anyway, it
Right.
ironed out all the way out to about, let's see, all through the 70s. There was at this time now you got black on what people call black on black crime. It's really not black on black crime. That's just a construct
Right.
created by, again, Europeans. There's no such thing as black on black
Right.
crime. There ain't
A
no white on
label.
black crime, no Asian crime, no Mexican on Mexican. Why is it just black on black crime? So that means, there's specific reasons why they use that term. But anyway, during that time, so things got convoluted again, and people getting to attack one another. You know what I mean? Pyru's is the only original gang out of Compton, which I'm from, and the Crips came from L.A. So the Pyru's, Compton has always stood on its own. We don't necessarily take in Los Angeles politics. Los Angeles, Compton is Compton. So let me get that part clear. And anytime you got a problem with Compton, Compton come together quicker than Autobots.
Right. Well,
Quicker than
you lived it.
Autobots. Trust me.
All right. So you lived this. So it's no you can have me. I want to ask you a couple of things in the middle of this.
Go ahead, ask a question.
I know. So you said it was the 70s and the early 70s. He went to jail.
Yeah, the Crip
Mr.
Wars
Washington,
really
right?
started in '79.
Right. So I know that like the Panthers is in Oakland, but at any point did y'all like have any meetings? Did any Crip leaders or anybody that sat at that table ever have any interaction with the Panther brothers?
With the Hampton brothers?
No, with Panthers, with Black Panthers. Like I said, I know that
No,
that's
the
up
Black
north,
Panthers,
but
by this time,
it's
the
Oakland.
Black Panthers had been ruined. You know what I mean? Most of them had became dope fiends, and that whole message had got just turned around. This is why, Crips also, they started off as being suffering from information malnutrition. So the Black Panther Party was educated brothers. They went to universities and different institutions of higher learning. That wasn't necessarily what the Crips did. Crips or the Bloods or the Pyrus, man. In fact, it wasn't no such thing as blood during that time.
Right. Another question I was gonna ask you because you said that I thought you having problems picking me up. I was saying that you said you have you come from Peru. So even though when it started getting what was the straw
Thank you.
that broke the camel's back to make Bloods be their own thing?
Well, you got to understand that the Crips, one of the Crip mantras was Crips don't die, they only multiply. In the '70s, they multiplied, and they multiplied, and they multiplied. So really, the Pyrus was at a disadvantage. So what happens? They the bounty hunters, the swans, the families, the bishops, all were anti-Crip gangs. So in order them to function with the Pyrus in this under this umbrella, they need a term of endearment. So the term blood was used. Therefore, they wouldn't have to claim Pyru. They could still be bounty hunters, swans, family, bishops, and prims, or whatever have you, and but they still function under the umbrella of blood. So that's how that happened.
Okay. Yeah, you could go ahead and continue where you was going with the history.
As far as the history goes, so in
Well,
1979, the LA Wars broke out. So that was some of the first internal when the Crips turned on one another. The name of was the what is it? Rolling 60s and HA gangsters begin to kill each other in an alarming rate, man. I'm like, they was going back and forth, back and forth. It wasn't even till I don't remember what year the Comptons really got active in that thing, because for a long time the Compton Crips was just Compton Crips, even though we came from different sectors and different neighborhoods and had different, you know what I mean? Like, my name could be, um, my first name could be Compton. My first name could be Crip, but my last name was Compton. You understand? So even though I was from Santana Block, but still I knew I was a Compton Crip at the time. Former. Let me say that too.
Um,
So do
about
we have
so
anybody in the chat?
now it's a few. If anything, if somebody got more well, I can say more positive, but if somebody that's here, this you very interested, I'll take questions. That's what you want to know. It's a few people. Oh, he didn't smacked out. If y'all got some questions when he come back, if it's valid questions, I'll ask him. I know the ex that got some questions.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could see what was in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. Nah, it's a few people. I got a moderator now. P West, what's up? P West, this is Triple OG Compton Crip here. So I know you got some questions. I'll let them get you ask a couple of things that I believe is valid. At this point though, I want you to just without how the kids say allegedly, tell us about your introduction personally.
Well, I got allegedly adapted in when Stanley Tookie Williams. They was in a boys' home out in Factor Brookings, which is in Banning, California, and that boys' home was ran by a guy named Bob Simmons. I refer to him as the Crip Whisperer, and him and another guy named Cochise and another guy named Kenny, and we used to call Baby Boy. But anyway, they ran those boys' homes back in the day, and two of my big homeboys, which was Donald Duck Norwood and Chester Norwood, they were out there. They was part of the Factor Brookings, and so they get kicked out of Banning, California, and lo and behold, they wind up in the middle of Santana Block on a street called Pine. And they wind up in a home. It was a big red barn looking house. We used to call it the Red House. So, and I believe the house had anywhere from 6 to 7 bedrooms in it, something like that. So, yeah, so that was the first relatively Crip house in our community, where we had some real high powered Crips that was pushing that line. You would find Buddha over there, Barefoot Pookie, Tiny Man Weasel, Shotgun, Lil Cross, Mad Nut, just to name a few, Killer Carl. So all those guys were, and that's not counting all the Oaks Park businessmen.
Okay. I was gonna say I got a good question too from a brother in here as well, but I wanted to get to like your personal trials and tribulations. I would say I usually ask people like what did they go through, any you don't gotta get, it's on you if it's any jail time or anything, you don't gotta get crazy about it, but just give us any trials and tribulations that you went through being a part of this huge
Well,
thing.
there was plenty trials and tribulations, but I'll give you a story. And I actually am a survivor of police brutality. I survived a police officer shooting at me over 25 times. It happened on 1989, February 14th, which was Valentine's Day, and I had my hand pretty much involved in all sorts of kind of things, and they were putting on this task force that was following me. But anyway, they put this guy. I don't know how they convinced. I guess he was a paid informant, and he came and approached me, and I knew the guy, and at this time he needed to go. He owed me some money, so he needed to go cash the check. But I didn't know he had a check. But he revealed that to me after he get me outside, and we jump in the car, and had a young lady with me. Her name was Carmen, and as we pull off from the curve, Well, prior to that, let me back up a little bit. There was a van. I'm sitting at Carmen's house, and there was a brown van that kept passing because she lives in a cul-de-sac. And brown van kept passing by her house. So I saw it out there. I thought it was just me admiring the car. I wasn't really tripping because I could see everything that was going on. They didn't know I was watching them, watching me. So when we jump in the car, we pull off. I get down to it's a street called Rosecrans. I know you in Boston, so
I know where Rose like that.
Okay.
Because of Tupac, when I've been out there, this is Rosecrans, so I know a little bit.
Okay, so Rosecrans, where I'm at, is not too far from what Tupac talking about, Rose Street and Rose Creek and Long Beach and Rosecrans and back down and all that stuff right there. So there's a shoe warehouse.
Norwalk too, because Norwalk, Rosecrans, all of that is like all in Bellflower. My people stay in Bellflower. So around that type of area, right?
Okay. So what happened was a shoe warehouse. So I pulled behind the shoe warehouse. The guy, he lived off the back end of the shoe house. So immediately when I pull over, he jumps out the car and runs to the back door of his house. So I'm sitting there, and something just came over me. It just had like a weird feeling of something. Something was like wasn't selling right with me. So I'm watching both mirrors. I'm watching the rear view and the side view mirrors. So sure enough, I see the nose of the brown van easing out the alley. So as it eased out, I'm thinking to myself, something ain't right. This is odd. So of course I had a firearm, which was a 44 Bulldog. It was laying on the armrest of the car. I never picked it up, never pointed it, never did none of that with it. But anyway, they pulled up on me in the van. If I'm parked on a residential street, and I don't know if you can picture this, if you parked on a residential street in California, we have residential streets, and cars can park on either side, right or left. And if the van pulled in the middle, you figure anywhere 4 to 5 feet distance between the parked car and the car that's traveling down the street. So when they pulled up, they could see clearly, look down in me because they sitting up in a van. And I happened to lean back and look. And by this time, I seen the arm of a green jacket, those OSS, which is Operation Safe Street gang units. They wore the green windbreaker jackets with sheriff department on it. But anyway, I noticed that and noticed the firearm in his hand. So right at that moment, my instincts kicked in, and right as I was trying to just figure out what I was doing, man, they started shooting. They started boop, 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 boop. So I managed to get the car in gear, put it in drive. But when I came up, because I was ducked down at first, and when I came up, the moonroof had collapsed on my head. The side windows was gone, the back window was gone, and the front window was coming out. So literally the car was like, and I peeled off the curb, just tore out, and I took off, and the chase began. And when I hit the first corner, past the first intersection, the black and white start coming out of everywhere, chasing behind me. And I run up a street called to Santa Fe. And it was about 4 o'clock in the evening at this time. So it was like in the height of the day with people coming from work, traffic is heavy. Man, I literally closed my eyes and went to that intersection. I made it to the other side. It's still puzzling to me. I get down a few more blocks and I try to hit the corner. Mind you, I'm in a Cadillac. And I try to turn the corner. I lose control. Hit the curb, bounced up the curb, hit a tree, and came to rest on these people's house in their front yard. By this time, the only thing I could do was play dead. So I got the girl calmed down. The whole time she's screaming and hollering, telling me to please pull over and all that. So I'm asking her, did she get hit? She said no, and I'm checking myself. I'm not hit. So okay, let's play dead and figure out what's going to happen. So we laying there real still, and they come up, man, and I'm laying there, so they come up. So the first few shares, they got long guns, so he poked me with the long gun. When he poked me, I looked up at him, and he like jumped, and then he was like trying to figure out what's going on, and he starts saying, I'm like, I ain't got no gun. You know what I mean? And then he said, well, where you hit at? Are you hit? And I said, by that, when I told him no, It
Oh
was like,
man.
man, they whole faces. They was like, they was like, no, 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 no. This can't be. You can't be telling me you got to be hit. It's like, nah, dude, you were hit. You just don't
Right.
realize you hit. Nah, partner, I'm not hit. I'm not hit nowhere. There's no bullets in me. No, the bullets that literally riddled the car. When they pulled us up out the car, and I look back at that car, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, how did I not get hit? you know.
Right.
I mean, I can laugh about it now, but at that
Right. Of
time, it was a
course.
very serious situation and everything. But anyway, so they locked me up for 11 different felony charges, and I decided to take it to a judge trial. And the reason why I did a judge trial because the judge had to follow the law,
Right.
regardless of all the lies they telling. The law was going to speak for itself. First and foremost, they never identified themselves as peace officers. Secondly, they violated my constitutional rights by approaching me in the manner in which they did, and the warrant they had was fraudulent. So they had a lot of things going against them at that point.
Right.
so so the judge meticulously tore through the whole argument and everything, and my attorney was fighting and pointing out situations and showing the judge where they was wrong, and you know what I mean. Anyway, they got them for a violation of my rights, civil rights. They violated my civil rights. So what happened? They was able to bring up some cases where I actually did what I did, and it was like at that point, okay, what do you want to do? You want to continue to fight this, or do you want to just call it? It was almost like they was trying to get me to call it even, but at the same time, I was too naive and at that time very informed, not as informed as I am today. Had I been informed as I am today, I'd have fought it all the way and filed a lawsuit and took it to the federal courts and did whatever I had to do with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals or however I had to do it. I could have got them,
Right.
eventually, but it would have cost me a little time and probably a little more money. But end of the day, I wind up selling for accepting my end of it as far as because I was into cars at that time. I was taking cars from any and everywhere. I had a whole thing going on with the cars. So anyway, I copped, man, out of all the car thefts they had on me, I wound up pleading to one,
Right.
and they made all the other charges go away. So and at the end of the day, I wound up doing a little time, and I went to prison. Came home 2 days after I'm home. The same brown car pulls up at my father's house. I'm at my father's at the back door, and they pulled up two white men in the car. They looked over at me, and they did their fingers like this here. Boom, 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 and started laughing and pulled off.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So
shortly after then, while all this happened, February the 14th, 1989, my boy, if you see the documentaries that I've been in, the 1984 Gang City documentary with my homeboy Kenneth Wayne Johnson, aka Turtle. And
hmm
any of you guys can go see that. It's called Gang City. And I'll be the guy with the braids, and me and Turtle be at the skating ring. And you say, "Where you going, skating ring, partner?" But anyway, that's my dog, guys. Rest in peace.
Right.
He was killed when it's 7 days when they tried to kill me. I think that happened on the 14th. 9 days after he was killed, actually, 9 days after the attempt on me.
Wow. That's just some intriguing stuff, bro. Your boy Eyeballs is here. He wants you to expound on the crypt whisperer. The concepts
The
that
Crip Whisperer is Bob. Reason why I call him that, Bob Simmons, because I never knew as much as research I tried to do on Bob Simmons and I found out that he actually lived. His mom and dad had a house on Pyru Street, which I found
Mhm.
very odd for him to be dealing with Crips the way he was doing. Secondly,
Right.
he owned all sorts of properties. Thirdly, he was always in like a secretive mode. And when I say secretive, he really didn't talk to none of us, but he was always saying, pulling Tookie to the side, saying something, always pulling him to the side. So that's why I called him. When I go back in retrospect and think about some of the things he did, I called him the Crip Whisperer. But
I
there's
and I
been
think
some that say he was linked to some type of intelligence gathering.
oh yeah, because
Yeah,
I
he
mean
was
I guess the
gathering.
second part of what he is trying to get to, I'm just trying because like I said, you know all your stuff. So when they asked this question, he just wanted to say, what did you think to Bob Simmons, how he viewed the purpose of the Crips and the potential of it?
Say again.
He's asking, how did you think that Bob viewed the purpose of Crippin and the potential of
I
Crips?
think that Bob was like anybody else that's in the prosperity. It's just a money. It's just a money maker for him. And whoever gets sacrificed in the mix of money, so be it. I don't think he really cared about that part. So that's what I'm saying. It was all, the sole purpose of it was intelligence gathering. Because if you got all these people around and you got them in his home, naturally you're gonna hear them talking. You're gonna see what they do. You're gonna know what they do, and then all you got to do is feed it back to the right people, and they continue to fund your programs, give you money, and so on and so forth.
So hold on, because I'm not familiar with this neither. So you saying that on the Whisperer, he was somebody who was like somewhat down but not down, and he fronted a house for people to be at or something?
No, 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 no,
Oh, okay, okay.
no, no. He had programs to where the state put Crips and Bloods in his custody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but he would only talk more. He talked to everybody, but he was always seemed like in a hush hush type of situation with Tookie.
Okay.
So that's why I called him the Quit Whisperer. And then when I realized it was all an intelligence gathering campaign, because if
Okay.
you get all these individuals in the thing, naturally you get to observe them, you get to see them and see what they do. So if you got somebody who's trying to know, you know what I mean? Because all the time, the whole in the history of the Crips and Bloods, as much as they wanted to try them under the RICO Act, they never, because the Crips and Blood has never really been organized in that way. You understand?
You're right.
So it was always best for them to continue to gather the intelligence and see just how they can, spoil it.
Well, for you, how do you feel like um the sole purpose got tainted? Like when did it really get tainted and kind of go away from brotherhood to just like full fledged
Well,
like
it went away from them when they realized that the spoon hunters were no longer. So you got all this energy, you got all these youth gathered around and under a semi structure, looking to do damage, looking to you know get into something. Now it began to turn on itself.
okay. For yourself, like I said, through trials and tribulations, yourself, did you ever want to put your rag down on anything behind like incarceration or like I said, any of your terms that you might have been beside that crazy story? And I know you got more, like you said, that was there anything that kind of made you kind of feel like, man, is this worth what I'm doing out here?
You was always challenged like that. You know what I mean? You can never be in that part, because let me tell you something, man. No matter what you did or didn't do, man, when you're doing wrong, karma is always lurking. So karma don't have no expiration date. So you got to figure out how to balance that scale. You know.
So I know kind of the answer. When did and how like how impactful in layman's terms, how impactful was the introduction to crack cocaine out there? And
Well, all that goes in succession, because if you think about the Crips getting started in '69, right? Then the Crips start doing what they're doing. So shortly after '69, going into the '70s, you start seeing the gang culture getting more and more and more advanced. And the more advanced they got, the more the government would begin to play, put things in the way or put situations together where the gangs will move in a certain direction. So 79, 79, 78. We lost Mac Thomas. Mac Thomas was killed. 79, Raymond Lee Washington was killed. 79, Tookie was basically dead. He just was waiting his turn to be executed on death row. Ricky Silas was killed actually in 79. So that that set up the road for the fall and the structure of the Crips and itself to become, you know what I mean, just take it in another way that, well, let me put it this way. 79, right? Just named all these individuals get killed. 79 is the beginning of the prison industrial complex. So why were they building all the prisons? Because in 81, 82, tons of cocaine was dropped in the Compton, Los Angeles. So now you got all this cocaine. Now you're building all these prisons. So how did you know to build all them prisons? How did you know that?
Right.
So you're building all these prisons. You got all this cocaine. Now you got 80s. Before then, we had 22 shotguns and 38s. Now we got submachine guns, MAC 10s, MAC 11s, AK 47s. So with the flux of cocaine, the money, the power to buy the money to buy more artillery, and you buy everything is just 100 times. It's magnified 100 times now versus the 70s.
Okay, so why
So now you created a whole nother animal.
Right. I was just gonna say, allegedly, when you was out there, well, I'll just keep saying, when you was out there though, it's always to be said about the pistols being left behind. Was you ever aware of that, or did anybody put you onto game about that?
Pistols being left behind by the police department?
Yeah, that's what was said to the government. It was areas in well, that'd be more Los Angeles than Compton, but it was said to be that they were supplying guns early.
Yeah, well, the police departments was actually doing drive-bys and all kind of stuff. Because you got to understand, man, if these guys expect to earn all this overtime and live really great lives, they got to create scenarios. Sometimes maybe the gangs ain't moving fast enough, so they got to help it along the way and make the situation become, more increased. So they participated, man.
So you telling me, OG, that you believe or for a fact, would they do it like this? So say the police did a shootout. So they would come on your set and claim to be your smoke, your beef, your ops.
Yes.
As the kids say.
Yes.
They'll just be screaming.
Yes. Because why would they need names? Because here's the thing. The police department call themselves the Stony Boys, the Vikings, and the Executioners. Why would they need them names? Why they just stick to being sheriffs?
Right. Also, hold on. You saying that they were straight claiming they won't put it off on anybody else?
They wouldn't claim their names, but what I'm saying, they formed those secret societies or secret groups within the sheriff department. They wouldn't do it like that. They wasn't that stupid.
Okay.
They would prefer to say, like the Paru or the Bloods did or the Crips did it to the stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
They would even strike up on the walls, cross us out. The police would.
Wow. So at times, y'all people have caught them doing such, and that's how y'all know.
Yes.
And how would they go? Like, would you ever be in a position of arguing with them? And like, how would they go about? Like, if you called them out on it, they would just act like they didn't do it.
They're gonna protect each other.
Wow, that had to be real crazy to be out there like that, going through.
That's
like
crazy.
We always have
that's crazy. When you think about it in its totality, that's some crazy shit, right?
Yeah, it's some crazy shit. Because you think
about the police are sworn to serve and protect, right?
Right.
But when you look at them, just think about when you see them across the country. How do they act towards people, melanated people? They are very aggressive.
Right.
They want to be the judge, jury, and the executioner.
Right. That's
Any more questions in the chat?
I didn't even. Well, not too many. because I have missed a couple. Because a brother Eggy Egg wants you to probably talk about OG Turtle and he was like, is it possible that Turtle got murdered by the police as well?
Yeah, true.
P West brought it
Because
in there again.
here's the thing about gang members, right? If a gang member had to kill Turtle, right, at some point in some time, it'd have been known because they can't keep that stuff in. They just can't. They gotta let y'all know that we did that. You
Right.
may not know the names or the particulars of the people that did it, but you're gonna know that they did that. That's just the way the games work. But that has
Okay
never
then.
been. But that has never came out on Turtle. Never.
Right. Another question he has, just going backwards a little, but it's fine. P West asked you, what was your first major experience with set tripping, and was it because of the drug game?
Was set tripping as far as what amongst each other or with other news?
Well, I guess within yourself, because to us, he's on the East Coast too. So I think all the set tripping we think is in
Well,
how
The Comptons really didn't set trip none really in the 70s, and it wasn't until the late 80s when somewhere in the 80s I think the Palmer box allegedly shot a dude from the South Side allegedly. So yeah. Somebody trying to call me. Hold on. But anyway, I hit him back. Oh, you there?
Oh yeah, my fault. I thought you was handling that. A question that I had that was original is could you just tell us the difference of old Compton compared to present Compton in a nutshell?
Old Compton was together. Present Compton is very divided. Old Compton was together, man. We moved as one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not because I could tell you've been having a long day, and I know you want to give it. So I'm just gonna have a couple more because I know what's
Okay.
going on.
Yeah, I had a
How
long day, man.
yeah
I'm
how
sorry about that. I would be more,
I
adept.
already know, but I was gonna make a suggestion at the end anyway. But how have you been? Say staying away from negativity.
Ah, man, I'm so far away from negativity. It's just, you know what I mean. The way I see things in the terms of which I deal. I'm an activist these days, and I'm looking to apply this be the person and be the voice of reason, man. You know what I mean? Com- Provide conflict resolution where it's necessary. Be willing to go talk to all the parties and the individuals, that's involved. Whatever I got to do to make it right.
All right. What do you think, Professor, we can do to save our children?
We got to come. We got to get off the couch, man. We got to come off the couch. We got to come out of our homes. We got to come out of spaces, and we got to continue to reach out and help the children, man, because they're our future, and they gonna have the keys in a minute. We're gonna be too old. We're gonna be sitting around on walkers and wheelchairs and stuff.
Right.
So you know what I mean. We got to prepare them.
Two more, please. For yourself, can you explain the trucking on the trucking industry, and as far as does it help you, get away from what we're talking about in any type of way, or does it influence you to think more?
Um, when I'm in the truck, I do a lot of thinking. I'm able to be in my creative mind, my creative space. So in the truck, I'm alone. So yeah, I like being in the truck. It's kind of like the think tank for me.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
The last one is I'll hear you talk about this, and it's simple to you, but can you explain Damu and Keywell?
Damu and Kiwe.
Keywell, yeah.
Damu means blood. Kiwe means cuz or crip. It's
Okay.
Swahili.
It's why that's the last thing that you have to touch on. That that's an amazing story. Just tell that part. Prison to talk to each other Just tell it.
Yeah, so we had to find a way in the prison system to communicate where nobody would understand what we were talking about. So we educated ourselves on learning how to speak Swahili. So the Swahili was used as the primary language to translate kites and send kites and talk and communicate without the authorities being able to intercept it and be able to understand what was being said.
How can man, you know how powerful the brain has to be that you're gonna say quote unquote criminals can teach themselves a foreign language. And some of them probably didn't know how to read and write until this time,
Yeah, but
correct?
that was the purpose of the CCO and the Blue Notes and the Vanguards is because they people was forced to not forced, but you had to go read. You had quiet time, you had reading hour, you had to do book reports, and you actually had to do the work, man. And then some guys became so good at Swahili, man. You thought they was from Africa.
Right. Wow.
Yeah,
All right, man. Because the professor had a long day, man. I very
yeah, I
appreciate
did,
this
man. I
much.
appreciate y'all tapping
Hopefully,
in.
you can
Well, let me say this, man. Y'all be
hopefully you can
sure to
come another time. Yeah.
go to my YouTube channel. It's called The Hood Postman. That's DAHODPOSTMAN. The Hood Postman. It's one word. And you can also find me on Instagram as The Hood Postman, and also on Facebook. I think I'm maxed out on Facebook, but I'm Melly Gibson on Facebook. MELYGIPSON. So be sure to tap in with me. I'll try to throw up a video every couple of days or so, and when I get an opportunity, I will go live. So peace, man. Thanks for inviting me into your section and over here, and we actually in Boston, right?
Right. Beantown,
Yeah.
baby. You know
Hey, man, you
it.
know what? They try to invite me out there to come out there and speak to the youth, but somehow they failed through. They never did come up with the funding, so I wasn't going to pay
Wow.
my, you know what I
Well, we
mean?
definitely need somebody like you to come out here because we lost a good man. That probably was the time. How long ago was it?
A couple of years, it was a
Yeah,
mirror.
we lost. It's probably May. It was probably Menino before he died. Menino would do everything for black people as possible. It was probably
Right,
Menino, and he died. Uh,
right.
like I said, before you even did that, my sister ran in here, my mom, she had already dropped your link anyway. But I always tell
Okay,
people to still do what you did. So once again, man, I thank you very much for coming to the platform and giving us a little
appreciate
bit of
you.
history, man. Stay up,
Appreciate you.
big bro. All right.
Salute, bro.
All right, peace. Salute.
Peace. We out.
Right. All right, man. Thank everybody for pulling up, man. Again, a piece from Professor Melly Mel, aka the Hood Postman. As he said, he is a YouTuber. I would have got to that, but he had a busy day. Probably did like 3 interviews already upon his videos and stuff like that. But again, I appreciate Rain, Eggy P. West for pulling up, eyeballs on Torres, everybody that got a piece of this. Until next time, history. Got to get it right, baby.